It's a glorious day here at Cabinet Joint. I'm Justin, and in today's video, we're gonna do a complete walkthrough on how to, one, install inset doors, and then how to adjust the hinges so that way you can get perfect reveals. Your doors can remain in perfect plane with the front frame. This video is not going to show you how to install the hinges onto the door or how to install the brackets onto the front frame. Those are in other videos. And also address the elephant in the room. I hurt my finger, but don't worry, it wasn't building cabinets, so we're all good. Now let's go see what tools we're gonna need. These are all of the tools that you are going to need to install and adjust inset doors. First, you're gonna need a drill with a 7/64 bit. You're going to need an impact with a Phillips head bit. We're gonna show two ways of installing the door stops, one of which is going to be using our new cabinet joint inset jig. You're gonna need your door stops and the screws that go with them, a pencil, a screwdriver that Bloom makes, and this is almost identical to a Phillips head, but just a little bit different for adjusting the door hinges. You're gonna need your regular Phillips bit screwdriver, a measuring tape, and then lastly, two sets of pliers you're gonna use to bend the stops in a very specific situation, which I'll show you later in the video. So let's get into installing the doors. So at this point in your cabinet build, we have already assembled this inset cabinet. We have attached the brackets during the assembly process like we recommend. And on our doors, the hinges have already been installed. If you want to know how we built the cabinet or install the brackets or install these hinges, we have separate videos on those that you can go and check out. One of the reasons that we love using the Bloom hinge system is because it has 3 levels of adjustability. You can adjust it up and down, left and right, and then in and out of the cabinet. Another reason is it's super easy to install and also easy to take out if you need as you're installing the cabinet. So take a look here. You have these brackets that are already placed in the cabinet, and then you have these hinges. If you look at the hinges, it has a little bar, and then it also has a little tab here that bends. So as you go to install it, you're gonna catch it on the cleat that's in here and then squeeze that tab and it's just gonna click into place like so. And just like that, you have an installed door. Notice I have a little tab here. You can use painter's tape. This is just so I'm able to pull it back out. Don't use green tape as that will leave a mark on your finish. So use a blue tape or a yellow tape. But as you go to close it, you can see that if I just leave it go, the cabinet door is falling back into the cabinet. That's because we have not installed the door stopper yet. So we need to do that. That's an important step. Typically, that's the first step that you do before you go ahead and install this door. But for example's sake, I wanted to install this before we installed that stopper. So now I'll show you how easy it is to take off the door. You just pinch those little tabs and then it comes right back off. So now we're gonna be putting the door stoppers on. I'm using our Inset scribe jig and it is so easy to use. Now you want to line up this edge of the jig with the inner edge of the stile. You also want to line up the bottom of the jig here with the back of the face frame. So once you do those things, mark there with your pencil, and now you have where you're gonna need to drill in order to install your door stopper. And you can go ahead and do the same thing, just flip your jig over. Once again, butting into the back of the face frame and then aligning the edge of the jig with the inside edge of the stile. Go ahead and mark it like that. Now you have exactly where you need to put your screw. Now, if you didn't have this jig, the measurements for that is 5/16 into the cabinet from the back of the face frame and then 9/16 over from the inside edge of the stile. Now that you have your marks, you can go ahead and drill. This is using a 7/64 bit. You can use a bit that's just a little bit smaller than 8, doesn't need to be 7/64. It doesn't matter too much if you drill through the top because no one's ever gonna see it, but you wanna be mindful of that you're not just drilling willy-nilly through and making holes that are unnecessary. Once you have your holes drilled, you can go ahead and put a screw through the elongated hole that is in your stopper. Because it's elongated, it has some adjustability that you can loosen the screw and adjust the door back or more forward if you need to. So now that we have the stoppers in place, we can go ahead and install our door once again. And now when we close it, You go ahead and see that the stoppers do what they're supposed to do, and it stops the door. So the goal with an inset door is for it to be in the same plane as the face frame. So now if you look over here, you can place a level on your door, and truthfully, you don't always need to place a level as you're doing this. Just get it to your eye's contentness. It doesn't need to be this exact. But if I place the level here, I can notice that it is dead on right now. It is flat all the way. It's in the same plane. So I know I don't need to adjust that door stop at all. It is in the perfect spot. So now we are going to install the door stop here in the bottom cavity. But you're going to run into an issue where you don't have a flat surface on the upper part here to install a door stop. You're going to run into situations like this with two-tiered cabinets like this. You're going to run into it with sink cabinets, and I'm going to show you a workaround so you can still have a door stop there without being able to attach it to a flat surface that's directly in line with your style. So when you don't have a flush top to mount your door stop to, the workaround is you are going to take your door stop and take 2 pairs of pliers and bend it so that way it ends up being straight. And then from there, you can go ahead and install it to the back of your rail. And to install it to the back of your rail, it's going to be the same measurements except just shifted. So it's going to be 5/16 down from the top of your shelf and then 9/16 over from the edge of your style. Or instead of taking those measurements, you can just go ahead and use our jig. You butt it up to the bottom of the shelf, and then you also line up the side here with the inside edge of the style. And then that will give you the same exact spot to mark and drill a hole and then to install your doorstop using the singular hole that is in the back of that doorstop. If your cabinet does not have a shelf to butt up into, you can line it up the bottom of this rail with the 2 holes here on the jig, these 2 larger holes. So you butt it up, you see it cuts through the middle of those 2 holes. And that's how you know you lined it up correctly. And then you can go ahead, make your mark here on either corner, depending on what side you're in, and then drill that out and then install your doorstop. From there, now you can see that we can go ahead and install this door. Doorstops do their job well, and that top one there is making good contact with the top of the door. So in a situation where you have double doors, you aren't able to measure or slide your jig right into the edge of the style. So what you're gonna wanna do is you have to find the center of the cabinet opening. So you can do that in a couple ways. One, you can just go ahead and close this door and then line up your edge of your carrot here on the jig with that door. It has 2 holes here. You just make a mark on those 2 holes, drill that out, and then install your door stop there. If you're not using our jig, what you're gonna wanna do is measure to the center of your opening and then measure a 1/2 inch either direction, and then once again, 5/16 back from the back of the face frame. So as you can see, this top door here is pretty messed up. Now, you're probably never gonna run into anything even close to this, but for example's sake, I wanted to show off the adjustability. I really racked it. It's up here in the corner, is way out of plane. You can see the top we're touching, and then the bottom, all the reveals are just messed up. So now I'm gonna show you how to fix those reveals. I'm gonna be using the Bloom screwdriver that they make. It's very close to a Phillips head, just a little bit different. They make it specifically for these doors. But you can also use a just regular Phillips head screwdriver. It's gonna be a little bit just more complicated, a little bit more of a hassle, but you are able to accomplish it with just a normal one if you don't wanna go out and buy this special screwdriver. So looking at the door hinge, there are 3 screws. The one that is furthest in the cabinet, that is going to adjust your in and out. So that is going to adjust how far your door is in your cabinet or out of your cabinet in plane with your face frame. And then the middle screw, that adjusts up and down. You are going to want to make sure your upper and lower reveals are equal. So using this, you can adjust your door up and down. And then on the closest screw to the face frame, it is your left to right adjustment to level out and square out your door with the face frame, but also allow you to get even reveals on both your left and right side of your door. So now let's go and adjust those screws. So this top right corner here is about a 1/4 inch past the face frame. So to adjust this, I'm gonna be using the screw that's furthest back here in the cabinet. And I'm just going to bring that in. Again, that is pretty well. I can adjust it actually back out just a hair. That's perfect. And like I said earlier, the goal with an inset door is for it to be all in the same plane as your face frame. So now that we have that in plane, if you look, our entire door is racked here in the opening. So we want to fix that. We want to get the left and right side both equal. So in order to do that, we're going to adjust the screw that is closest to the front frame, and we are going to bring this top over here. That way this kind of corrects itself. Okay, now you can see I went a little too far, so I need to bring it back just a hair. And then we are pretty close to dead even with our reveal all the way here. Now, how does it look then compared to the other side? As you can see, this side is kicked out a little bit more, so we're going to want to bring both of these sides in a little bit to adjust and make sure that this is in the middle of this opening. And as you can see, now both sides are even. So now the last point is to look at the bottom and the top, and they are pretty close, but I think I can bring it down ever so slightly. So to do that, I'm going to adjust the screw that is in the middle here, the middle screw, and I'm going to turn that clockwise, bringing that down ever so slightly. Oops, sorry, counterclockwise to bring it down ever so slightly. I think I can go a little bit more. And there we go. Now all of the reveals are all equal, and then our entire door is in plane with the front frame. Now I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this bottom door, and then I'll be right back with you. So now, as you can see, after just a little bit of adjustment, all of the reveals around the door are set, and the door is in plane with the front frame, and everything is good to go. It's really easy and a simple process once you get used to it. It's kind of fun, a little bit of problem solving, getting things to move, and it's super satisfying as you get that perfect reveal going from something maybe slightly tilted to now perfectly straight. And then there's one more point of adjustability to talk about, and that is the soft close feature. So if you notice, I have this one pretty well dialed in. That's right around a great speed, in my opinion. But if you look up here, this one's gonna close very fast. That's because on the hinges, they have these little toggles. And now here, I have one toggle that is in and one toggle that is out. And then on this upper cabinet, I have both toggles that are out. So that is why it is going quicker. But if I adjust those, and which the way to adjust those is just to push them in or out, depending on what you need. And then close the door one time to cycle it through, open it back out. And now if you look, as I close it with both of those toggles in, it goes incredibly slow. You're gonna finish your dinner before the cabinet door actually closes, and we don't want that. So, like I had down here, I'm just gonna put one that's in, one that's out, kind of meet in the middle ground. And once again, you just close it to reset that cycle. You open it, and now that's at a pretty good speed. The majority of the time, they come default set to that slow setting, set to that in setting. So if you are worried about your doors, they're closing just awfully slow, the soft close is too slow, that's how you can adjust that. So now this cabinet is all set to go into the customer's house. And the truth of the matter is this might need some more adjustment as the life of this cabinet moves on. Both after the cabinet itself is installed, make sure that your installer, or you yourself if you're installing, you are making sure that the cabinet isn't getting racked at all, that it's remaining square. But just naturally, because it's wood and the nature of wood, it expands and it shrinks as it's settling into your house and with different seasons and things of that nature, you might have to make some slight adjustments as time goes on. But like I showed you in this video, it's very easy to do, very minimal, and you are more than capable of doing it. So if you have any questions on how to adjust your soft close, how to install your door, or anything like that, even what is an inset door, you can go ahead and call your cabinet coach or call us at 888-211-6482.